Good evening, Flosstube. My name is Mandy. Welcome to my channel all about cross stitch. And you can already hear, I had to make sure we got stitches today. Can you hear her saying hi? Say hi. People miss you. Can you say hi? I love that little voice. She had me at meow. I say it all the time. The whole reason why I picked her out at the rescue place was because every time I kept walking past the little cage that she was in, she would just meow at me. And of course now she's getting the zoomies. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. Thanks for pressing play. I hope you stick around, like what you see, hang out for a bit. That was my cat Stitches. She's such a gem. Absolutely adore her. The last couple of times that I know that I filmed, she's been zonked out on the middle of my bed, so she didn't make any kinds of appearances, so I know people are missing her. So I had to make sure that I could grab her when I could. So we've got a lot to share today. This is probably going to be a little bit of a longer video, but I had to try to squeeze this in a little bit. So this is going to be like my regular Flosstube update in terms of things that I've stitched on since the last time that I shared, but this is also going to be a little bit of a mid-year WIP review. WIP parade, however you want to put it. I am going to share all the projects that I have worked on since the beginning of January. I have more projects on the go, just things that I haven't touched at all this year. I'm not sharing any of my finishes that I've gotten this year, although there's been quite a few. This is the new starts that I've worked on so far this year, you know, all that good stuff. So let's dive into it, shall we? Today is Tuesday, July 18th. Things have been good here the last couple of weeks. This past Saturday was my birthday. 2 weekends ago, so it would have been on the 8th, I went to a women's pinball tournament where my sister got the gals that we hang out with, some really great friends, to throw me a little bit of a surprise party. So I walked in the door and yeah, they got a cake, had some table decorations, all that good stuff, got some really lovely gifts. I got a gift card to Michael's, so I haven't yet decided if I'm going to use it to spend on buying a bunch of floss for my next full coverage project, because you know there's always going to be one of those. I also have it in mind that there's a piece that I'd like to get framed, so I don't know, we'll see. Another gal gave me a whole bunch of, I think it's chenille yarn, so I may have to try my hand again at some crochet. She also gave me some set of like basic knitting needles, but I know absolutely nothing about knitting. I know very little about crochet. I was gonna say cross stitch, that would be a lie. I know a very little bit about crochet, so maybe I'll try to crochet a scarf or something. We'll see. Given the very soft floss, I was gonna say floss, yarn though, go Stitches. And here when it's like 80 degrees every day is not gonna be the time to do it, so. But yeah, very, very special day. So, I did not finish last in that tournament, which is always my goal. Otherwise, I've been stitching, working. I did finally get Fourth Wing. It is right here. I've got the cover off of it. But I received this for my birthday. I know this has been such a hot topic book, and so finally was able to get my hands on it. It is not the fancy, pretty edged one, but it is okay. I finally got my hands on it. I'm 100 pages in. Don't want to put it down. So, all right. WIPs, stitching, finishes, all that good stuff. Let's do it. So I want to say it was 2 weeks ago now. Laura from Stitching by the Shore was talking about wanting to get this project started, and she called me out on wanting to see my progress on it because she knew that I had been stitching on it, but it had been a really long time. And so with her very kind encouragement, I decided to get the piece out. Not only did I stitch on it, but we have a finish. So I'm not going to show the pattern. I don't have it handy. But who needs the pattern when you have the finish? So this is Book House by Stone Street Stitchworks. I can't read backwards. I lived in books more than I lived anywhere else. So called for DMC piece of, this is an 18 count. I just saw the label the other day. 18 count cream Ada. I don't know. The one that's got the orange band. That's why you're, I don't know why I started it dead center, but there is quite a lot of margins on that piece. I have no clue what I'm gonna do with it. I should probably just put it in a, I bet it would fit easily in an 8x10 frame. It would look great on my walls. So, cannot wait to see what Laura ends up doing with hers. I think the last thing she was talking about using called for colors, but really mixing up the fabric, so I can't wait to see hers. So that is my book house. Laura, finally done. She's seen a picture of it. I shared it in her Facebook group too, but now that I think about it. We might as well show, call this video influenced by Laura in the best reasons possible. Because, and I didn't have this one handy, I started a new project last night. This has absolutely been influenced from Laura. She has long since had this piece finished. I've been wanting to hop on starting it when she was working on it, and I just never did. And so I finally got it started. I did message her the other day because I was wondering if there was an Etsy shop that, like, if Jardin Privé had a Etsy shop, because I wanted just a PDF and the website was all in French and I couldn't figure it out. I don't know French, and I wasn't going to try to purchase something where I couldn't read it. And she just let me know a very easy way of clicking the British flag, and it switched it to basic English. Duh. Didn't even realize that I had that option, so thank you so much to Laura about that. Then I was able to actually purchase the pattern, got it downloaded when they emailed it to me the next day, and I got this started last night. So we're talking about Lady Halloween. I love this piece. I adore it. I have not yet figured out if I want to do the bright colorful touches along the lines of what Laura has done and what I've seen other people online doing, like giving some pops of color. Haven't gotten far enough to decide if I even want to do any of that. So far I'm leaning towards at least doing the black and gray version. There are instructions on there of doing it just all monochromatic. We'll see as I go along if I decide to add any kind of color to it. But for now, here is my start. I love this material. So this is stitched on a piece of 16 count Bestitch Me in Rainy Day. So Laura has been using this piece on her Owl Forest Black Vintage Sampler, and love that piece. I got this in a it was in a Fabric of the Month. I've loved it since I opened the piece, but didn't know exactly what I wanted to stitch on it, and so when I decided to pull this out, I was originally leaning towards wanting purple for this project, but what I had in stash wasn't really grabbing me, wasn't really what I wanted, so we decided to finally pull out Rainy Day, and that is my start. So I just started it last night, so I stitched on it for a couple of hours, and we've got ABC and a bat. So there we go. That is my Lady Halloween, finally getting it started. Alrighty, you can already see my next project a little bit. I decided to pull this out last week, and I got a lot accomplished on it. I'm loving it. So it is the Twisted Rainbow Sampler from Northern Expressions Needlework. I'm doing just the standard cross stitch version. They do have this available in specialty stitches as well as just basic cross stitch, and so I'm doing the basic cross stitch version. So just full of X's. and I'm loving this piece. This is stitched on a piece of 16 count Witchelt, I think it is, in Midnight Gray, I think is what it's called. So I didn't want to do it on the black that it called for, and I don't know, I like this gray. It's very see-through. You can very much see through it, but it's fine. I'm loving the colors popping on it. When I picked it up, I finished out this yellow, zeroed out that yellow, so that color is completely done, and then started filling, excuse me, some more of the green, and then I also came in and added in that band. I'm about ready to actually start rolling this up a little bit, but there's definitely more that I needed to get over here, so we're gonna get more in there. Because I am doing the standard cross stitch version, they do have this available on their Etsy store as a PDF, and it works absolutely perfectly in Pattern Keeper, and it works great. Can't say the same about the specialty version, because I'm assuming the specialty stitch version has like basically back stitch lines, and I know back stitching is not compatible with Pattern Keeper. But if you're interested in doing this in just the regular cross stitch only version, it works perfectly in Pattern Keeper. Because the pages like have it, I originally got it as a paper pattern, but it goes across 6 pages. So you think of trying to do one band all the way across, and I was having to like, especially it would have been the yellow up in the corner, somewhere down further, like once it got to the bottom of page 1, it technically went over into page 2, and I think into page 4. So I was juggling, trying to figure out, you know, the right pages that these things went with, and finally I'm like, you know what, we need a digital version, and luckily enough, it works great in Pattern Keeper. So there is my Twisted Rainbow Band Sampler. Well, I don't know that it's called Band Sampler, just Twisted Rainbow Sampler. I think there's a couple different variations as well, different color versions in that, but this is Twisted Rainbow Sampler. And we love it. Alrighty. And I have another new start. I was talking about this one last week though, so this one will be no surprise. I was wanting this for my birthday start, and I had the material all ready to go, had the flosses all set, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to wait until Saturday, and so birthday week start works, right? I was talking to my friend Crystal, who is not a stitcher, but she totally gets everything, and she says, hey, if it's the week of your birthday, it still counts as a birthday start. So I took that and ran with it. So this is maybe not considered child friendly, so if you have children watching, you may not want them to see the picture. Hey, I'm giving you the warning. If you don't want them to see, there you go. This is called Companions. Artwork is by Bridget Ashwood, charted by Heaven and Earth. Okay, that picture is down if you had children turning away. I'm not far enough along on the stitching to make any matters. We are just in that upper left corner, and it is 20 shades of grays and purples and pink. So we're just in the corner. I was gonna say how many stitches, and I have done, and I don't remember exactly. 800 maybe? This was a matter of work on a few nights. It is a lot of confetti, but the whole background is really gonna be confetti heavy. I can't wait until start getting into like the hoop behind it or the wings, but for now it's gonna be a while before we get into anything besides background, but it's gonna look very pretty. 16 count white Aida, 2 strands, full across. That's how I do all of my full coverage. Alrighty, so now the rest of this is basically going to be WIP parade stuff. Before I do get into that, I don't have any haul or anything like that, but I do want to share something because this has been an absolute treasure since I found it. And it's stitching adjacent, right? Because it's a tablet stand. Just thought I'd share it in case anybody is interested. I can get you the link if you want. I have just been, I can't reach it at the moment, but I've just been using, and I meant to actually bring that too, but I've been using just this basic white easel type thing to put my pattern key, tablet or whatever on. It's actually something that I got at Joann's that I don't even see them selling them anymore, but it's just this flimsy plastic easel thing. Well, I've been having to keep it on a book because I've been wanting my tablet to sit a little higher than what that thing sits. So I'm like, there's gotta be something else better out there. And boy, am I glad that I found this. So it actually fully collapses. So like, it's little. There's, you know, little about the size of my hand. It expands outwards. This moves up. It works great to be able to throw into a bag if I'm going to stitch somewhere else. It takes up so much less space on my little TV tray, which you can see one right here, that I use to keep my pattern and my, you know, scissors and all that on. It takes up quite a bit of less space. That I'm so glad that I got it, and I want to say it was like $12 on Amazon. So if you want the link, let me know. I don't know if I'm able to put links specifically in Amazon, but I can probably reply to a comment if you're interested. I love it. It's got a nice sturdy base. It doesn't flip over. My 10-inch tablet iPad sits on it well. My 6-inch tablet that I use with Pattern Keeper sits on it well. I love it. Okay, sale's done. I don't get anything out of it. There's no affiliate links. They're not asking me to review it. I just wanted to share because I'm in love with it. It is my favorite new gadget. And I can see that other people would probably love it too. Okay, WIP parade, shall we? Let's do this. I told you this video is probably going to be a little on the long side. This was my New Year, New Start Bluebird of Happiness Cottage Garden Samplings, Songbird Garden Series number 5. I love this entire series. I have nearly the entire series pattern-wise. This is the second one that I have started stitching. I've completed one. That was number 9, Simplicity. I ironed absolutely nothing. Even my finish that you saw. So here is my start. This is stitched on a piece of 18 count Bestitch Me Ada in Punch. This was in a one of her like seasonal boxes from, gosh, I bet it was 2020. It was like a beach theme box. I remember getting that. So the original piece of pink that I had for it, I realized was going to be way too small. I would have had like 1/2 inch border, if that. It was just going to be way too small. So I found this. It is a gorgeous pink. I'm not going to need half as much as this, but there's some really pretty purple modeling in it. But yeah, I love this series. I'm glad to finally have a second one going. Haven't touched this in quite some time, but we've got the house started. And a couple flowers. So yeah, that is Bluebird of Happiness. Alrighty. My next project is coming from the August of 2017 Just Cross Stitch magazine. That's what the cover looks like. I started this sometime probably shortly after this magazine was released. This is my oldest WIP. I have it on my list of being my actual oldest WIP. So here's what it's gonna look like eventually. It is called Bergama Borders. artwork is by, I'm probably gonna absolutely butcher this. We'll try to show it. By Banu de, I can't even read backward, Demerol of Siba Designs. I love it. I don't know why I haven't finished it yet. I have so much fun when I get to working on it. I am working on this swirly doodad band right here. I don't think I've touched this since January, when I was using it as my piece to work on for WIP parades at the end of the year into January. So I don't think I've worked on it since then. I've got threads all over the place. And here we go. Oh, I'm even further than that. I forgot about, I did start the band below the swirly dudes. 16 count white Ada, called for DMC. So just a blue and a red and black. Lots and lots of black. I was thinking at one point I would make this the piece that I know like Jessie Marie and a couple of other people have taken a project that they could like easily cut it down into 12 spots that they could try to have it finished by the end of the year. I was thinking of doing that and then I never did. And there it sits. I would definitely like to get this thing finished though. I don't know that it'll necessarily be a focus piece to get it done by the end of the year, but eventually I would like to have that finished. My next piece is from the Cross Stitch for the Soul from Emma Camden. I always want to add an M to her name. The projects in this book don't really have a name to it, but when I like write it down in my book, I just call it When It Rains. So when it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. Absolutely adore the sentiment of the piece. I love the colors. This is so pretty. I need to get back to this. Again, another project that I haven't worked on in months. Again, I haven't ironed a thing. So we just have reins and a little bit of the borders. Starting of the L. This is stitched on a piece of 16 count color and cotton in Ozark. And yes, I did look it up before I started. So eventually, it's not going to be a huge piece. I mean, eventually I'd like to get back to working on that one too. I did think that I was going to pull it out earlier this year, and then I just never did. Again, well, since earlier this year, I guess I should say. Next piece. I'm moving along a lot faster on this than I thought I would, so we may not have as long of a movie. I don't make movie lengths. We don't have, this may not be as long of a video as I thought it would be. We haven't gotten to the full coverage yet though either. Spring Birds, Country Cottage Needleworks. This pattern was so graciously gifted to me from Laura. And here we go. We've got 3 birdhouses and the starting of a bird. This is stitched on a piece of color and cotton, a grab bag, Ada. I have no clue what name it is or anything. I want to say it's a 16 count. Almost looks like it could be 18, but I don't know. It's pretty. I went through my stash and just pulled colors that looked like what they kind of, you know, the cover photo. So it's not necessarily a really one-for-one type of thing. Like it calls for 2 different blues. I know I'm using color and cotton Delft blue, and that's a variegated blue. So I'm just using that one color for the 2 symbols. Yeah. I think maybe the pink, I don't remember this off the top of my head, but like I think maybe that pink flower, maybe like one pink that's variegated. I don't remember. I don't have all the colors pulled. But I do know that I went through my stash and I pulled coloring cottons, probably some classic color works, different colors like that. Yeah, just to mix it up a little bit. Alright, need the iPad for the next piece. I started this a few weeks ago. It's not there was a motion to stitch for Sage. That is a hashtag on Instagram, stitch for Sage. The designer behind Night Spirit Studio has been going through some health issues, cancer battle. She's posted about it on her Instagram. And so there was a little bit of a movement to stitch some of her patterns, give her some love, send her all the best vibes to, you know, for her battle and everything. She was gonna have to have a procedure done in the hospital and that. So people were starting, and so I started Gothic. Ooh, there goes the Gothic Luna Moth. So fun. I only worked on this the one day, and we've got that upper chain. That's all that's done. Yeah, I did not work on it more than just that one day. This is stitched on a piece of 18 count Bestitch Me in granite? Graphite. Granite. I literally just looked this one up before we started. I believe it's granite. So, that will be my Luna Moth. And this was actually a piece that I guess I could have had this a little higher in the stack because I did work on it a little bit this week. Literally one night this week. But it's still here. Bald Eagle, another country cottage. Cottage garden samplings. So this is the Year in the Woods sale, not sale. Just Year in the Woods series. Number 7. Bald Eagle. And here we go. Oh, I love him so much. Bestitch Me. I literally just looked at this tag 2 nights ago. I don't remember the name of it. If you want to know, let me know. I do know that Brandy at Bestitch Me has a packet of, it's a 4-pack of material. That's what we're talking about. Words. At least I knew she had it on the website. When I got it, it was obviously on the website. So the called for material from the series, like that Cottage Garden calls for, Brandy dyed her own versions similar. They're not an exact one-for-one match type of thing. There's another material that's not quite the same color as what's called for, but I figured out how to use them. So it's from that bundle, I guess. I'm sure you can get them individually. Again, if you want to know, let me know. I literally just looked the other day, and do you think I can remember? Not at all. I do plan on stitching the 3 on here, whatever the season calls for. I don't remember again at those. I'm such a great Flosstube, aren't I? Look at that bald eagle. I have such a thing for bald eagles, if you don't know me. Obviously I've got a needle minder there. I'm not going to be able to easily turn my camera to show you my Heaven and Earth bald eagles. I love them. I'm not well behind me. I have a little garden flag out that's got a bald eagle on it. I've got a tattoo. I love my bald eagles. I love it when I get to actually see them. Oh, wild. All right, that is all of it for non-full coverage. Because if you know me at all, you know that full coverage is where my heart is. It's full on, that's where my heart is. I will slowly move my camera. So if you Don't like movement. If you can see, I was trying to sit so that I can have the camera so that you could see that, but it wasn't working. So that's my fractal. Absolutely adore that piece. Okay, camera's going back in place. And because I sit here at my desk working all day, I work from home, I get to sit right underneath that, and I get to stare at that all day. That it wasn't my first full coverage, but it was might have been my second. It is entirely possible that it was my second full coverage piece. I don't remember. But I love those colors, and I love being able to look at it all the time. So yes, full coverage is one of my absolute favorite ways to stitch. So you would have seen this one just a couple weeks ago, but I know it's a favorite by a number of people. Mini Dark Goddess, artwork by the late Carol Cavallars, chartered by Heaven and Earth. Last time I shared this, I showed that I had a page finish, and I did not work on it anymore since then. Remember 16 count white Ada, 2 strands, full cross. These colors, they're so pretty. So I know the last time I finished, I got a page finish somewhere right around here. I was thrown off by that little white spot. That's stitching. But yes, I know I've got a few people that always comment how much they love this piece. They always want to see it. So make sure to hold it up so that you get a really good look. Mini Dark Goddess. This is now my oldest full coverage project on the go. Pretty sure this is my oldest. I just have these stacked here. I don't have them sorted in any kind of way, special order. This one was a start in May. Here's one. This is Brush with Magic. Artwork is by Lisa Parker. Heaven and Earth, of course. And of course, I've got to stitch it for the black cat. I love it. Oops. Heaven and Earth has quite a few full coverage pieces, you know, patterns that have black cats featured in them, and a lot of particularly popular ones that always see everyone. And so I knew I wanted to stitch something kind of in honor of Stitches, but hadn't come across anything. It was the second I saw this one that I knew I had to stitch it. She'll do that where she brushes against something. I love it. Not gonna look like a whole lot of besides black. This is just the upper left hand corner. That is literally just the top of the corner. I've stitched my way down. She is currently chasing her tail behind the camera on the arm of the couch. She's so goofy. So this one's gonna be a whole lot of black for a long time. But it's not solid black. There's blue and some brown in there. So it's not solid 310. But it definitely looks like it. We'll leave it folded up, but that's where we started. This one has actually been calling to me a little bit since I haven't really worked on it since I started it. But, you know, life things, other projects, squirrels. I can't help but laugh when she chases her tail, and I wish there was an easy way for me to just like flip the camera around, but while I'm recording there's no way to flip it, because like as soon as I start laughing or I start talking about her, she stops. She's just sitting there wagging her tail. Stitches. She just turns around and looks. Yes. Love that little girl to pieces. Next start. Which Way? No, this is Mini Which Way. Artwork is by Molly. I got it wrong the first time, last time I shared it. Oh, I've got it right here. She signed it, Molly Harrison. under the tombstone that the cat is sitting on, she's got it signed. So at least I'll be able to easily figure out who it is. Molly Harrison. Did I say that right? Mini version. That dress is going to be absolutely stunning. I cannot wait to get to that. But for now, I'm still just up in the upper left-hand corner like I do. Unless I get further along, I may want to somehow label these pieces, because is that not looking like the start of Companions? A little, this one's got more pink than the other one does, but man, if you didn't know better, they're gonna look a lot alike for a little bit. I do want to say that I've worked all the way over to the left. No, that would be the right side of page 1. I am not sticking to just pages. As you've seen on all of my full coverages, I really don't stick to page breaks anymore. I've never done 10 by 10 blocks or anything like that. Basically, and the reason why you've got scattered stitches like this is I will pick a color and just work my way as far as you can go with it. Not so much specifically extreme cross country or even cross country by page, anything like that. I'm not gonna, try to count all the way over here to put in a color that I'm working with up here. But if it's reasonable for me to get a color without having to do a whole lot of jumping and skipping, then I'll just carry it as far as I can go. So that is the Stormy background for Mini Which Way. We're getting there, folks. This actually is going a lot quicker than I thought that it would be. I actually thought that we were gonna have a really long video. One of my favorite projects that I'm working on. This is Mini Midnight Messenger. Artwork is by Ann Stokes. Artwork, I just said artwork. Charted by Heaven Earth. Oh goodness, I can't talk. This is probably my second oldest full coverage piece now. And so I've just really, since I've picked it up again this year, I've really been focusing on this eagle. That's not an eagle. That is an owl. I do know some birds. Goodness. I've really been really filling in this owl. Again, just picking that symbol and going as far down as I could with it. That's why you've got these weird gaps like this. It is amazing seeing the depth of the wings in this area, just because, as you're working on it right here, you're just seeing blobs of blue, but holding it at a distance, looking at it through the camera, man. And this is what has me so engrossed in full coverage stitching, is just getting the details and the depths of things. I know you can't see it at the moment, but like over here where there's trees and the moon is somewhere in there. There it is. It is just amazing to see the depth in these woods. I know you can't see it all that well at the moment because of it being on the frame, but that's just what I love about full coverage stitching so much, is just getting the details. Like right now that just looks like a blob of black, but I know that's a big tree right there, and so it's really just being able to get into that owl. And then once we move over here, obviously the girl is right here, so it's gonna be amazing. I don't want to take it off the Q-snap at the moment, but the owl that's sitting in the tree is right there. So it's just, the detail is amazing. Alrighty. I just thought that we forgot a piece, but no, it just means I haven't stitched on it this year. Alrighty. The last project that I have to share today, Mini Sea Opal. Oops. Artwork is by Elizabeth Welker, charted by Heaven and Earth. I do have a full coverage that is not Heaven and Earth. I just haven't touched it this year. It is my Dragonfly clock. I need to get back to that one too. So many projects. And yet all I want to do is start all the things. So I am slowly plugging away on page 2. Man, those colors are looking a little washed out through the viewfinder. But, yeah. They're definitely looking a little washed out at the moment. There's a better view of the colors. Almost looks like there's a cat right there. Not supposed to be. So, yeah, that ring light sure washes out those colors. But that is my mini sea opal. And that's all the projects that I have to share. I honestly thought that I was going to have a lot more than that. I guess that just means that I talked. Probably just talked too fast, is what that means. Faster than normal. So, like I said, that is all of the projects that I worked so far through this year. I really don't have any set plans of wanting to finish this, and this type of thing. The bald eagle is fairly close enough that I would like to maybe focus on getting that one finished. I know I've got some older whips that haven't even been touched on this year that I would like to see get finished. There's just some whips that have been lingering. I finally made a whip list of, in order by dates. So Bergamo Borders, which was, you saw that earlier, that is my oldest project on the go still. I started that in 2017. And then I've got I've got 4 from 2021. And this is all my non-full coverage pieces here. And then 7 2022 and 3 2023. I know I've started like 10 things this year, but I've only got 3 still on the go, so that means I must have finished. It was great to really get focused on finishing Mini Stitching Moon, which if you've been with me, for any length of time, you would have seen that was really my focus piece for this year. I can't believe I got that thing finished in April. I picked that up around, gosh, what was it? Maybe halfway. I don't know that I was even at 50%. Somewhere around that neighborhood that I busted that thing out. I got such a bug in me that was all I wanted to stitch. And so that was a huge, huge finish that I got to accomplish this year. I don't see me really picking up any other full coverage pieces to focus on a finish through the rest of this year. I have been using somewhat this piece to stitch for full coverage Fanatics Tour de France. I've really just been stitching along. There's been a few nights that this was all I wanted to work on, and so halfway following along with, I've not just sat down and said, okay, so this leg of the stage is 127 kilometers, we're gonna put in just 127 stitches and move on. Like, I just literally just sat there for a few nights stitching away. So would like to see if I can finish that challenge that ends this weekend, I think, maybe by the end of the month. But like I said, it's not like I've been real focused real hard on it. I definitely want to get more stitching in on companions, which way. It was a wonderful feeling being able to get a page finish on Dark Goddess, because I haven't gotten one done on that in a while. So yeah, again, if you know me at all, you know that I don't set all these real hard and fast goals that I want to finish. It's a great concept, and I love watching everyone else getting real in depth with how they want to finish things and the goals that they have for every month. I try setting goals, and I don't stick with it. I am so much of the squee-wee stitch life. Stitch what you want when you want. I have no clue who started that acronym. I know I've heard Jessie Marie talk about it quite a bit. I don't remember if she was the one who came up with it or if it was somebody else. I wish I did know so that I could give them credit. I love the acronym because that is most definitely the way that I stitch. I've tried WIP Go. I love the concept and I love seeing, you know, how people get along with goals and such. I stitch on what calls to me. And if it's a matter of I want to stitch on one piece for a month, then I'm gonna. And that's what happened with stitching on Mini Stitching Moon, because I knew I wanted to, it felt good to get back into that piece. It sat for over a year untouched. I'd gotten burned out on it, so it just sat. And so when I wanted to make it a goal this year, it felt good to start seeing progress on it. And then it just, like, I got into an addiction that I couldn't put it down. So it was so cool to be able to get that stitched. And finished. But I'm just rambling now. I don't know what I'm going to work on. I do want to move back over to the couch. I'm sick of sitting on the floor. Haven't quite decided what I'm going to actually stitch on for tonight. Maybe we'll go back to Lady Halloween. I don't know. We'll see. It'll probably be a couple weeks before I film again. It seems to be working out pretty well that I've been able to film every couple of weeks. Right now, especially because I'm getting hooked on something, I'm sitting and stitching on it and nothing else for a good week. Like Companions, that was the only thing that I touched for a week. And so, well, I started it last Tuesday. Okay, so I guess it was 4 days, maybe. Something like that. Bookhouse, I literally picked that up and I got it stitched in one evening. Finished. Where I picked it up at, and there was some decent stitching. I had to finish the tree, the right tree, and all of the words. And I actually got it stitched in one evening. So it's amazing how long that sat untouched, as long as it did when it took one more stitching evening. So I guess that is all. I don't know what I'm going to stitch on tonight. I can't make up my mind. So I guess we'll find out and see, won't we? I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you're getting in lots of stitching time. I would love to hear what you were stitching on tonight while we were chatting. So let me know. I promise I'm going to try to get better about those comments. Anyways, I hope you are getting in lots of stitching. Stitch on what brings you joy, and we'll see you again next time. Take care.